I found out through YouTube, his graduation speech. He thanked everyone who made him the man he is today. I wasn't mentioned once, not once. In 18 years of raising him, I'd become invisible. So the next morning, I called the university, and I transferred his graduate school fund to someone who would actually appreciate it. But I'm getting ahead of myself. Let me back up. My name is Thomas Brennan. I'm 64 years old, and until 3 months ago, I thought I knew what my life meant. I was wrong. I spent 37 years teaching high school English in Halifax. Not the kind of job that makes you rich, but it was honest work. I loved those kids. Watching them grow, seeing the light go on when they finally understood Shakespeare or Steinbeck, that was enough for me. My wife Eleanor felt the same way. She taught elementary school. We had a good life. Simple. Happy. We never had children of our own. It just didn't happen. We tried for years, but eventually we made peace with it. We had each other. We had our students. We had our little house in the North End with the garden Eleanor spent every weekend tending. Then, when I was 46, my younger brother Marcus died. Car accident on the highway near Truro. Black ice. He didn't stand a chance. His wife Jennifer had passed 2 years earlier from cancer. They left behind a 4-year-old boy named Owen. Owen. My nephew. My brother's son. There was no one else. Marcus's in-laws were elderly and in poor health. Jennifer's sister lived in Australia with her own family. It was me and Eleanor, or foster care. We didn't even hesitate. We brought Owen home from the hospital the day after the funeral. He was so small, so confused. He kept asking when his daddy was coming back. Those first months were hard. Owen had nightmares every single night. He'd wake up screaming, and I'd sit with him in his little room until sunrise, reading him stories, telling him it was going to be okay. Eleanor would make hot chocolate at 2 in the morning. We took turns. We were exhausted. We were in our late 40s, not exactly young parents. But slowly, he started to heal. He started to smile again. Started to laugh. By the time he was 6, he was calling us Grandpa Tom and Grandma Ellie, not Mom and Dad. We never asked him to. We wanted him to remember Marcus and Jennifer. We kept their photos up, told him stories about them, made sure he knew where he came from. We gave him everything we had, not money. We didn't have much of that, but time, attention, love. I went to every single one of his hockey games, even the 6 a.m. practices in the middle of winter. I'd be there in the freezing rink with my thermos of coffee, cheering him on. Eleanor baked for every school bake sale. She sewed his Halloween costumes by hand. We helped with homework every night at the kitchen table. When Owen was 12, Eleanor got sick. Breast cancer. Stage 4 by the time they caught it. She fought for 2 years, but in the end, it took her. I'll never forget Owen at her funeral, 14 years old, standing beside me at the graveside, holding my hand. He was almost as tall as me by then. He looked down at me and said, "We still have each other, Grandpa Tom." We did. We had each other. The next 4 years were just the two of us. I retired early from teaching. I wanted to be there for Owen full-time through high school. My pension wasn't much, but I'd been saving for decades. Eleanor and I had been careful with money. We had a small life insurance policy. I cashed in my RRSPs. I made it work. Owen was a good kid, smart, worked hard in school. He wanted to study engineering at Dalhousie University. I was so proud. Neither Marcus nor I had gone to university. Owen was going to be the first in our family. But university is expensive. Even with student loans, it wasn't enough. So I sold the house Eleanor and I had bought 40 years ago, the house we'd raised Owen in, the house where Eleanor had died. I sold it and moved into a small apartment in Dartmouth. 1 bedroom. Owen got the bedroom. I slept on a pull-out couch in the living room. I put the money from the house into an investment account for Owen, for tuition, for books, for residence, for his future graduate studies if he wanted them. He graduated from Dalhousie last month with a degree in mechanical engineering, top of his class. He'd already been accepted to the master's program at the University of Toronto. Full ride for tuition, but living expenses in Toronto are brutal. That's what the investment account was for. The money from the house. The money from everything Eleanor and I had built together. I was so excited for his graduation. I bought a new shirt, navy blue. I even got my shoes shined. I wanted to look good in the photos. This was Owen's big day. The ceremony was at the Rebecca Cohn Auditorium. I got there early to get a good seat. I was in the third row, right in the middle. I had my phone ready to take pictures and videos. I wanted to capture everything. Owen looked so handsome in his cap and gown, so grown up. 22 years old. I remembered him at 4 years old, crying for his daddy. I remembered him at 8 years old, losing his first tooth. At 12, bringing home his first report card with straight A's to show Eleanor when she was sick. At 16, getting his driver's license. And now this. A university graduate. They announced he'd be giving the valedictorian address. I almost burst into tears right there. My Owen, my boy, the valedictorian. He walked up to the podium. The whole auditorium went quiet. He adjusted the microphone, cleared his throat, and began to speak. Thank you all for being here today. This is a moment I've dreamed about for years. Standing here, graduating with my degree, looking forward to the next chapter of my life at U of T in the fall. I was beaming. I couldn't stop smiling. I want to take a moment to thank the people who made this possible, who made me the man I am today, who showed me what success looks like and gave me the tools to achieve it. This was it. This was the moment. I sat up straighter, got my phone ready to record. First, I want to thank my professors here at Dalhousie. Your dedication to excellence pushed me to be better every single day. Okay, that made sense. Start with the professors. I want to thank my classmates, especially the engineering cohort. You challenged me. You inspired me. You became my second family. Sure, his friends. That made sense too. But most importantly, I want to thank the man who changed my life. The man who took me under his wing 3 years ago and showed me what it means to be a professional, what it means to have ambition, what it means to think bigger than the limitations you grew up with. I frowned. Who was he talking about? Mr. Richard Sutherland, CEO of Sutherland Engineering. When you hired me as an intern in my second year, you didn't just give me a job. You gave me a vision for my future. You introduced me to the right people. You showed me what real success looks like. You treated me like a son, like the son you never had, and I'll be forever grateful. My smile disappeared. Richard, you showed me that where you come from doesn't have to define where you're going. You proved that with the right mentorship, anything is possible. Thank you for being the father figure I needed. Thank you for believing in me when I didn't believe in myself. The audience applauded. Some people stood up. Owen was looking up into the balcony section, waving at someone. I turned to look. A man in an expensive suit, silver hair, probably mid-60s. He was standing, clapping, looking proud. That was Richard Sutherland. Owen continued talking about his future, about his dreams, about his goals. He thanked the dean. He thanked the donors who funded scholarships. He thanked his girlfriend Meredith and her family for their support. He never mentioned me, not once. Not my grandfather who raised me, not my family, not even the people who supported me through my childhood. Nothing. I sat there in the third row, in my new navy shirt, with my shined shoes, with my phone in my hand, the recording I'd started still running, capturing this moment I'd waited 18 years for. And I felt something crack inside my chest. The ceremony ended. Graduates threw their caps in the air. There was music, cheering, photos. I stood up slowly. My legs felt heavy. People pushed past me, trying to get to their graduates. I just stood there. I saw Owen across the room. He was surrounded by people, friends, professors, and there was Sutherland, shaking his hand, pulling him into a hug. Owen was laughing, smiling so big. I started walking toward him, slowly, through the crowd. I wanted to congratulate him, to hug him, to tell him I was proud, even though something inside me was breaking. I got closer. I was maybe 15 feet away. Owen looked up. Our eyes met. For just a second I saw something in his face. Recognition, maybe even guilt. Then he looked away, turned back to Sutherland. put his arm around his girlfriend Meredith. I stopped walking, just stood there in the middle of the crowded auditorium. Someone bumped into me, apologized, kept moving. I turned around and walked out of the auditorium, out of the building, into the parking lot. I sat in my old Honda Civic, the car I'd been driving for 15 years, the car I couldn't afford to replace because I'd put every penny into Owen's future. I sat there for an hour, just staring at the dashboard. My phone buzzed. A text from Owen. "Hey, Grandpa. Sorry I didn't see you after the ceremony. It was crazy. I'm going to dinner with Meredith and her parents and Mr. Sutherland. I'll call you tomorrow." I didn't respond. I drove home to my small apartment in Dartmouth, the apartment I'd moved to so Owen could have his bedroom. I walked past the pull-out couch I'd been sleeping on for 4 years, went to the bathroom, looked at myself in the mirror. 64 years old, gray hair, deep lines in my face, wearing a new navy shirt that suddenly felt stupid, like I was a child playing dress-up. The father figure he needed. Richard Sutherland was the father figure he needed. Not me. Not the man who'd held him during nightmares for 18 years. Not the man who'd given up his retirement to pay for his education. Not the man who'd sold the house his wife died in to fund his future. Richard Sutherland, who'd given him an internship 3 years ago. I went back to the living room. There was a book on the coffee table. A photo album. Not just any album. The album. I'd started it the day Owen came to live with us. Every major moment of his life. Every birthday. Every Christmas. Every first day of school. Every hockey game. Every award ceremony. Every report card. 18 years of memories. Eleanor had helped me with it until she got too sick. After she died, I kept it going. I'd spend hours carefully arranging photos, writing little notes beside each one. Owen's first goal in hockey. He was so proud. Owen's 13th birthday. He wanted chocolate cake. Owen got accepted to Dalhousie. Eleanor would have been so happy. Hundreds of photos. Hundreds of memories. Thousands of hours of love documented in a simple album. I'd planned to give it to him after graduation. As a gift. To show him how much these 18 years had meant. How much he'd been loved. How much he'd mattered. I picked it up. Held it. Felt the weight of it. The weight of 18 years. Then I set it back down. I didn't have the energy to look through it. Not tonight. I didn't sleep that night. Just lay on my pull-out couch, staring at the ceiling, replaying the speech over and over in my mind. The father figure I needed. The next morning, I called Owen. He answered on the 4th ring. "Hey, Grandpa, sorry about yesterday. It was just so hectic." "It's okay," I said. My voice sounded flat even to me. "I wanted to drop by today. Bring you your graduation gift." "Oh, you didn't have to get me anything. But sure, yeah. I'm actually at Meredith's place right now, in Clayton Park. Can you come here?" Meredith's parents' house. Of course. I drove over. It was a beautiful home. Big, 2-car garage. Manicured lawn. The kind of house Eleanor and I could never have afforded. Owen answered the door, still in his pajama pants at 11 a.m. Relaxed. Happy. Come in, he said. I stepped inside. The house smelled like expensive coffee and fresh flowers. Through the doorway, I could see Meredith and her mother in the kitchen. They glanced at me, smiled politely. "Didn't come over to say hello?" "Sorry, we're a bit of a mess," Owen said. "We were up late celebrating. Let me just grab my shoes and we can go sit in the backyard." "Actually, I can't stay long," I said. "I just wanted to give you this." I held out the photo album. Owen took it, looked at the cover. "What's this?" It's every moment of your life since you came to live with me and your grandmother. I made it for you. As a graduation gift." He opened it, flipped through a few pages, looked at the photos. His face was neutral, not emotional, not moved, just polite. "Wow, wow. You really kept all these photos?" "Every single one," I said. "I thought you'd want to have them, to remember." Yeah, this is really nice. Thank you." He closed the album, held it awkwardly at his side. There was a pause. An uncomfortable pause. "Did you want some coffee, or?" Owen asked. "No. I should go." I just wanted to make sure you got that. Okay, well, thanks again. This is really thoughtful. He walked me to the door. I stopped on the porch, turned back to look at him. Your speech yesterday, I said. It was very good. Oh, thanks. Yeah, I was pretty nervous, but I think it went well. You thanked a lot of people? Yeah, well, I had a lot of help getting to where I am. Richard Sutherland. He must be a very special person. Owen's expression changed slightly. Defensive. He is. He's been a huge mentor to me. He's connected me with people in the industry. He's written me recommendations. He's given me career advice. He's been incredibly generous with his time. That's wonderful, I said. It's good to have mentors. Yeah, it really is. Another pause. Anyway, Owen said, thanks for coming by. And thanks for the album. I'll look through it properly later. You do that, I said. I drove home, sat in my apartment, stared at the walls. 2 days later, Owen texted me. Hey, Grandpa, cleaning out my stuff before the move to Toronto. Do you want to come get any furniture or boxes from the apartment? The apartment. The apartment we'd shared. The bedroom I'd given him. I drove over. Owen was there with Meredith. They were packing. The apartment looked empty already. Half the furniture was gone. Boxes everywhere. Hey, Owen said. Thanks for coming. I wasn't sure what you'd want to keep. Most of this stuff is pretty old. I looked around. The kitchen table where I'd helped him with homework every night. The bookshelf where Eleanor kept her cookbooks. The lamp that had been in our old house. I'll take the books, I said. And the lamp. Sure. Oh, and here. Owen reached down and picked something up from beside the door. The photo album, sitting on the floor, next to a box marked Donate. I figured you'd probably want this back, Owen said. It's more of your thing than mine, all those old photos. I've got everything digital now anyway. I stared at it, at 18 years of love, sitting beside a donation box. Right, I said. My voice sounded far away. I'll take it. I picked it up, felt the weight of it again. Owen had already turned away, was talking to Meredith about where to pack the dishes. I walked out, drove home, set the album on my coffee table, sat down on my pull-out couch, and I felt nothing. Not anger, not sadness, just nothing. It was like something inside me had shut off. I opened the album, looked through it. Page after page of memories that apparently meant nothing to him. I saw Eleanor's handwriting on some of the early pages. Her little notes. Our sweet boy. So grateful for him. I saw photos of myself. Younger, smiling, proud. At every hockey game. Every school concert. Every birthday party. I saw photos of Owen. Growing up, smiling, happy. And I realized something. He loved what I gave him. The education, the opportunities, the stability, the house to grow up in, the money to go to university. But he didn't love me. I was the old man who happened to be there, the caretaker, the bank account, the placeholder until someone better came along. Richard Sutherland came along, successful, wealthy, connected, everything I wasn't. And just like that, I became invisible. I closed the album. Put it in my closet, sat back down. It was evening by then. I should have made dinner. I wasn't hungry. I opened my laptop instead, logged into my bank account. The investment account, the one with the money from the house, Eleanor's house, the house where we'd been happy, where we'd raised Owen, where Eleanor had died. Current balance, $183,000. Owen's graduate school fund. For his master's degree at University of Toronto, for his living expenses, for his future. I stared at that number. Then I opened my email, started typing. Dear Office of Financial Aid, University of Toronto. The next morning I called Owen. Hey Grandpa, what's up? I need to tell you something, I said. About your graduate school fund. Oh yeah? What about it? I've transferred it. Silence. Then, what? I've transferred the money. All of it, to another student, someone who will actually appreciate it. What are you talking about? That's my money. That's my education fund. That's from the house. It was never your money, Owen. It was my money, my house, my investment. and I've chosen to invest it in someone else. You can't do that. His voice was rising. Angry now. That's for my master's degree. I'm supposed to start in September. Then I suppose you should talk to your father figure, Richard Sutherland, about funding, since he's been so generous with his time and advice. Is this because of the graduation speech? Seriously? This is because you put an album with 18 years of memories next to a donation box, Owen. This is because you introduced a man you've known for 3 years as the father figure you needed. This is because you forgot where you came from. Grandpa, you're being ridiculous. I'm sorry I didn't mention you specifically in the speech, but there were a lot of people to thank, and I only had 10 minutes. And the album thing, I just thought you'd want those photos. I didn't know it was that big a deal. It wasn't a big deal to you. That's the point. So you're taking away my education fund because your feelings were hurt? I'm investing in someone who will appreciate what education means, what sacrifice means. You have Richard Sutherland. I'm sure he'll help you figure it out. This is insane. You can't do this. I already have. I called the university yesterday. The transfer is complete. The recipient is a young woman named Sarah Chen, first-generation immigrant, working 3 jobs to pay for her undergraduate degree. She's been accepted to the same master's program you have. She'll use the money better than you would have. I need that money. No, you don't. You have connections now. You have Richard Sutherland's network. You have Meredith's family. You'll be fine. Grandpa, please, don't do this. It's done, Owen. And don't call me again unless you figure out what the last 18 years were actually worth. I hung up. My phone rang immediately. I declined the call. It rang again. I turned it off. I sat there in my small apartment, on my pull-out couch, in my one-bedroom place in Dartmouth, and I felt nothing. 3 days later, there was a knock on my door. I opened it. Owen was standing there. He looked terrible, tired, stressed. "Can we talk?" he asked. "If you'd like." He came in, looked around the apartment like he was seeing it for the first time. The pull-out couch, the small kitchen, the dated furniture. "You've been living like this?" he asked. "For 4 years." "Yes." I didn't realize. You weren't paying attention." He sat down, put his head in his hands. "I talked to Mr. Sutherland about the funding for U of T. He said he'd see what he could do, but he couldn't promise anything. His company's going through some budget cuts." "I see." "Meredith's parents offered to help, but they're already paying for her graduate program, and they don't have enough for both of us." "That's unfortunate." "Grandpa, please. I need that money. I've already accepted the position. I've already told them I'm coming. If I back out now, I'll lose the spot. They'll give it to someone else. They'll give it to Sarah Chen, and she'll do brilliantly. Why are you doing this to me?" I looked at him, really looked at him, 22 years old, angry, confused, desperate. "I'm not doing anything to you, Owen. I'm doing something for myself. For the first time in 18 years, I'm choosing me. But I'm your grandson." "Yes, you are, and I loved you. I gave you everything I had, everything. My time, my money, my home, my retirement, Eleanor's legacy, all of it, for you, and I'm grateful." "No, you're not. You're grateful to Richard Sutherland, the man who gave you an internship. But the man who gave you 18 years? That man was forgettable enough to not even mention in your speech. It was one speech, one moment. It was the moment that mattered, and it showed me the truth. You love what I gave you, but you don't love me. You don't respect me. You don't even see me. That's not true. Owen, you put the photo album beside a donation box." He looked down, said nothing. "I spent 18 years documenting your life. Your grandmother spent her last healthy years helping me with that album. Every birthday, every milestone, every moment we were proud of you. And you looked at it once, said that's nice, and put it beside a box marked donate. I didn't mean. Yes, you did. You meant it. Just like you meant not mentioning me in your speech. Just like you meant not seeing this apartment I've been living in. Just like you meant calling Richard Sutherland the father figure you needed. You meant all of it." He was crying now. Actual tears. "Please, Grandpa, I'll do better. I'll be better. Just give me another chance. I've given you 18 years of chances. I'm tired, Owen. I'm 64 years old and I'm tired. So that's it? You're just going to throw me away? I'm not throwing you away. I'm letting you go. There's a difference. He stood up, angry again. You're a bitter old man. That's what you are. You can't stand that I found success with someone other than you. You can't stand that I grew beyond this. He gestured around the apartment. Beyond this small life. Maybe you're right, I said. Maybe I am bitter. But I'm done apologizing for not being Richard Sutherland. I'm done being invisible in my own grandson's life. He left, slammed the door behind him. I sat down, picked up my phone, turned it back on. There were 17 missed calls from Owen over the past 3 days, 6 voicemails, dozens of texts, all of them saying the same thing. He needed the money. He deserved the money. I was being unfair. Not one of them said, I'm sorry. Not one of them said, I love you. Not one of them said, thank you for 18 years. I deleted them all. 2 weeks later, I got an email from the University of Toronto. They confirmed that the funding had been transferred to Sarah Chen. They thanked me for my generosity. They included a note from Sarah herself. Dear Mr. Brennan, I cannot express how grateful I am for this opportunity. My parents came to Canada with nothing. They worked in factories so I could go to school. I've been working 3 jobs to save for graduate school, but it wasn't enough. Your gift means I can focus on my studies instead of worrying about rent. I promise I will make the most of this opportunity. Thank you for believing in me. With deepest gratitude, Sarah Chen. I read it 3 times. This was what appreciation looked like. A month later, I did something I hadn't done in decades. I went to a social event. A retirement community in Halifax was hosting a welcome evening for new members. I'd been thinking about moving there, selling the apartment, finding a place with other people my age, people who weren't invisible. I went. I talked to people. I made a friend. Her name was Margaret. She was 70, a widow, a former nurse. She'd raised 3 children alone after her husband died young. She understood what it meant to give everything for family. We had coffee, then dinner. Then we started spending time together. Actually spending time, talking, laughing, enjoying each other's company. For the first time in years, I didn't feel invisible. I moved into the retirement community. A nice 1-bedroom place. My own space. No pull-out couch. Margaret helped me decorate. We went to farmers markets together. Took day trips to Peggy's Cove. Joined a book club. I was happy. 3 months after I transferred the fund, Owen called. I almost didn't answer. But I did. Hey, Grandpa. Hello, Owen. I wanted to tell you. I'm not going to Toronto. I didn't go to graduate school. I see. Mr. Sutherland offered me a job at his company. Junior engineer. It's a good position. Good salary. Benefits. That's good. Congratulations. Yeah, thanks. Silence. How are you doing? He asked. I'm well. I moved into a retirement community. I'm enjoying it. Oh, that's good. More silence. Grandpa, I've been thinking about what you said, about the speech, about the album, about everything. And I think I understand now what you were trying to tell me. Do you? I took you for granted. I didn't see what you gave up for me. I was so focused on moving forward that I forgot where I came from. I'm sorry. I felt something shift in my chest. Not forgiveness. Not yet. But something. Thank you for saying that, I said. I was wondering if maybe we could have dinner sometime. If you're willing, maybe. Someday. But not yet. I'm not ready yet. Okay. I understand. I'll wait. You do that. We hung up. I sat in my new apartment. Margaret was coming over in an hour. We were going to watch a movie, a comedy. She'd bring popcorn. I'd make tea. I looked at the photo album. It was on my bookshelf now. I'd taken it out of the closet, but I still hadn't looked through it. Maybe someday I would, or maybe I wouldn't. Either way, I was okay, because I'd learned something important, something it took me 64 years to understand. You can love someone with everything you have. You can sacrifice, you can give, you can pour yourself out completely. But if they don't see you, if they don't value you, if they take you for granted, then you have to choose yourself. Even if it's the hardest thing you've ever done, even if it feels like giving up, it's not giving up. It's letting go. And sometimes, letting go is the only way to save yourself. That's what I did. I let go. I chose myself. And for the first time in 18 years, I could breathe.